Welcome back to Feathers Lunch and Learn. So we really want to talk more about feathers because there's so much to share about feathers. So today we're going to talk about how birds maintain their feathers. There's a lot of work to be done if you have thousands of feathers on your body. We have washing machines. We can take our clothes off and we can put them through the washing machine, put them through the dryer, and then put them back on. But they can't do that. They have to maintain those feathers for the entire year because they won't molt until they're another year from when they first get their new feathers. So how do they maintain them? They actually preen their feathers. They actually take their beak and they go through and individually go through and wipe down each feather. But sometimes they need a little bit of water. You know, we take a bath and they take a bath. But then they also have rainwater. We take a shower. So after we do that, we dry off. But they have to maintain their feathers by preening. And they have a little gland, which is called the oil gland. It's actually called the uropygial gland. It's on their tail. And they reach around and they put a little bit of natural oils on their beak. And then they preen and they put natural oils back on their feathers. And it also helps a little bit in the waterproofing. Waterproofing, you know, these birds have to take baths, but they also use techniques like sand baths. They actually get in the sand and they take a bath in sand. Another technique of bathing is sunbathing. You know, some birds will actually start to get a little bit of parasites, some bugs that like feathers. And so they will actually, some birds will actually put their wings out and absorb the sun, the heat, and that will help get rid of some of the parasites. The bugs don't like it really hot. While the birds are here and being taken care of physically because they got injured or sick, we also have to make sure they keep their feathers intact. And we do special things for them, like how we supply them with a perch so that they can get their feathers off the bottom of their little kennel. Or we put tail sheath on their tail to keep their feathers, their tail feathers intact. The last video we talked about molting and how the feather grew. Well, while it's growing, if something happens and they have some kind of stressor that occurs, they got injured, they had a raccoon chasing them, they missed a couple of days of food eating, they had a stress, then it happens to show up in the feathers. I actually see that a bird that had a stress, like these stress bars, happened in the body when it was growing out. There's a stressor that occurred right then. And as it grew out of the body, it showed up in a weakened area where it's transparent and very weak. You can see it breaks off easily. Stress bars are kind of like, you know, when you have a stressor occur, your body has to keep working. Your heart has to keep working, but sometimes not everything's gonna work. So temporarily, the body quit growing the feather because of the stressor. And if the stressor is very, very severe, it's gonna stop growing completely. And it's gonna, when it stops growing completely, then it's going to stress molt and it's going to come out of the body completely. And something else that's very important to feather growth is the follicle. Follicles for a bird is where the feather is growing out of. And if that follicle is damaged, that feather is gonna have a really hard time coming out of the body. And it might come out really, really weird looking. So sometimes when a bird breaks a feather or two, we have to do some feather repair. It's called imping. And what we do is we actually take a feather from somebody else and we attach it to the bird. So it's actually glued in and becomes one feather intact. So if you watch this video, you'll see how I imped an osprey. So feathers are amazing things, as you can see. And, you know, Audubon got started because of feathers. Because people were actually using feathers as a fad. Ladies were wearing feathers in their hats back in the late 1800s and the early 1900s. And it was a fad. And people were killing birds for feathers. And actually, that's why we got started. Audubon got started to stop the plume hunters from killing birds. So we're really glad that we could share how cool feathers are with you and how birds are protected still today for themselves, for their feathers, for every parts of them. There are state and federal laws to protect birds. And so we're really glad you could join us today. So I hope you enjoyed it. See ya.
If you've been a fan of the Center for a while, you might recognize this guy. We asked Michael Frogman to write a song for this Lunch and Learn.
Hi there, I'm Michael Frogman. This song's called The Best Feathers. If I was a bird, I'd have feathers. The best feathers in the world. I would fly super high, prettiest bird in the sky. I would have the best feathers. My tail feathers would be pretty, full of greens and golds with red and blue. They would be nice and long and sparkling in the sun. They would help me to attract a mate. The downy feathers would keep me warm. They would keep me warm when it's cold. I'd be able to get by when the wind blows. I don't hide. I have feathers to keep me warm at night. My flight feathers take me to new heights, higher than the highest flying kite. Through the air I'd catch a breeze, migrate south with such great ease. My feathers would help me fly away. If I was a bird, I'd have feathers. The best feathers in the world. I would fly super high, prettiest bird in the sky. I would have the best feathers. So don't get jealous of my feathers. If you were a bird, you'd have them too. Take a minute to fantasize, be a bird and to fly. Just make sure not to ruffle my feathers. Well, I really hope you all enjoyed that song.